Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of November 24, 2024. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boy, is it a very special time. And it truly is so special now. Powerful energies are with us. And the huge news this week, really what's getting a lot of focus, is all this magnification of Sag energy. Boy, if ever there was a time when we are going to feel like we are no longer in Scorpio season, well, this week really would be it. It is going to be on Monday that Mercury stands still in the sky and officially goes retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius. And this alone would magnify Sagittarian energy. But later in the week, we're also going to have this incredible conversation of supreme harmony between the Sun and Mars. Now, as a side note, I want to say next week is huge. I mean, this week is huge too, but let me just say, next week, wow, we begin a brand new month at the start of next week. And that is a month that will start on a new moon and end on a new moon, which suggests a lot of us embracing new beginnings as part of entering a brand new year. But next week, we're going to have not only Mars going retro, but also Neptune going direct. All of that taking place as we move into next week. So, of course, I'll be here to talk about it every step of the way, but I mention it now because these two planets in particular are going to start standing still in the sky this week, which means they are that much more at the height of their power. By the time we move late into the week, we are in what astrologers call the dark of the moon. And this is that time when moonlight is not visible, and a time that's been thought to be considered especially mystical, where there's so much happening behind the scenes, so much that's not visible, and yet it's germinating. And there's also a lot that is coming to a healthy closure as part of this energy of beginnings that we begin next week with the new moon and so much more. So all of that is to say, yes, lots of Sag energy playing out right now, but also know that along with that, the players involved this week are especially strong. This isn't an ordinary Mercury retrograde. It's Mercury standing still, going retro, but this whole retrograde season is going to take place with Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is a party vibration. I think that's the best way to put it. And a lot of that orients around the fact that Jupiter rules the sign of Sagittarius. But Jupiter is also the ancient ruling planet of Pisces as well. As I said, Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces, is standing still in the sky this week. We'll go direct next week. So you can see here, we've got this like overriding energy that is strongly Jupiterian on the one hand. But it is Jupiter that also has a side of it that is deeply philosophical, that is adventurous and exploring, not just in a literal sense in terms of being open to new experiences, which is awesome, but also in terms of its willingness to engage other ways of understanding the world, or its hope to find a sense of ground to stand on to affirm what it is that we might believe. Ultimately, matters of faith are the realm of subjective truth, the matters of what we truly believe, how we make sense of the world. These are deeply personal, and a lot of it is based on our own individual experience, but also importantly, how we interpreted those experiences. The willingness to even engage the journey involved in discovering one's truth, well, that alone can be a party if you approach it that way, but it's the more adventurous side, whether that adventure takes you to spaces and places where you're just enjoying your life more, we prioritize that more, or whether it takes you in directions of more intellectual or philosophical pursuits. Well, all of that is likely going to feel like it's calling us, but in interesting ways with a Mercury retrograde. Now, in a larger sense, Mercury is about what we're talking about collectively, but also personally as well. It's what we're thinking, but also how we are thinking and how we are communicating and connecting to each other. The ancients divided the 12 signs in a few different ways. So one was by elements. 4 elements understood to the ancients: fire, water, earth, air, means all of the signs will belong to one of these groups. You get 3 per group. What we also have is modality. And modality speaks to where that sign falls within a given season. It's going to hold the characteristics of that season. So cardinal signs: Aries is the first day of spring, Libra is the first day of autumn, Cancer is the first day of summer, Capricorn is the first day of winter. Cardinal signs start a season, so they hold within them the quality of initiation and the spark of some beginning. And then we have the fixed signs. The fixed signs hold a season. And so Taurus is the height of summer in the northern hemisphere. It is Scorpio that is the middle of the fall season in the autumn. Leo takes place at the height of summer. It is hot outside, just like Leos like to think of themselves and are in many ways. And then, of course, Aquarians, they hold the season in winter, in the dead of winter, if you will, when you've got nothing but your own thoughts. And so, of course, it's an air sign as well. And then we get the mutable signs. And mutable signs end a season. And so they hold within them the quality of allowing change, of flexibility, of adaptability. But it means that whereas cardinal is really good at starting things and the spark, and fixed is really good at holding things, it has an element of stubbornness that allows things to get done in the first place. It is mutable, that in some ways always preparing for something different, for something to change, and is able to adapt that much more. And if there isn't a situation to adapt to, well, they just might create it. There's an understanding of the flux and flow of life and being willing to engage it that much more. And nowhere is that more evident, perhaps, than in the sign of Sagittarius. With Sagittarius being ruled by Jupiter, everything is bigger where it comes to Jupiter. Whatever Jupiter touches, whatever Jupiter is aligned with, feels that much more heightened in activity, in awareness. But also for itself, with Sagittarius, think about where that energy falls, right? So if we look at the mutable signs, it is Gemini that ends the spring. It is Virgo that ends the summer. It is Pisces that ends the winter. And it is Sagittarius that ends the autumn season. And so as we get to Sagittarius season, this really is like the preparation for what the ancients called Saturnalia. I believe I spoke to you about that last week as well, right? We're getting ready. We're gearing up for the party. Mercury retrograde invites us to go deeper. Retrograde planets invite us to consider that energy much more personally, but also much more karmically as well. Ultimately, what are karmic ties? Well, they have to do with what we promise others. Yes, the karmic contracts we might have with others, but it's also about what we promise ourselves. And the higher spiritual understanding of Mercury retrograde is the opportunity to truly reflect on what our principles are, what our morality is, what our ethics are, and how do they form some foundation to the promises we make to ourselves. And where is it that some of those promises, maybe they don't work for us anymore, they don't suit us anymore, they're really not who we are anymore. That's very possible a consideration with the Mercury retrograde. But also with Mercury retrograde, we are invited to return, right? It's anything with a re, famously. Lots of astrologers like to remind us of that. Anything is what a retrograde is about, with Mercury retrograde in particular. And it's remembering the things that you believed when you were perhaps more idealistic, perhaps more adventurous, perhaps more hopeful. It's about returning to an understanding of what type of morality or ethics are you going to hold that allows you to then be that much more open to the world around you. Because I'll tell you, being closed to others, being closed to the world, well, it would be very understood. The world can be a very hard place sometimes. And anytime we move through life, for any of us, there are going to be experiences that feel painful. And so it would be very understandable that maybe we decide at some point, or maybe we just find ourselves in some point, or maybe just for a period of time, yeah, we might need to go within or shut ourselves off or isolate even at times. But the energy of Sagittarius is like the opposite of all of that. It's saying, I have faith in myself, I have faith in my future, and therefore I can trust the world. And therefore I can trust myself to go out in the world and be whoever I am, and know that where it matters, I will still have myself. Because Sagittarian energy knows if it has itself, it has anything, but the self itself is constantly in flux. It's constantly being redefined. And so how are you now going to embrace this very strong karmic energy at play that's going to invite us to consider karmic contracts themselves? And I'll tell you, I am personally of the belief that legal contracts as well, they can be very karmic. And it is up to us to decide which contracts continue to work with us and which don't. And just like karmic contracts can come to an end, sometimes for this lifetime, sometimes for good, right? Sometimes we say, okay, I've had it. Thank you. I learned what I needed to from your soul. Thank you very much. We've been doing this for 100 lifetimes now. Yeah, I think I got it. And you believing that you got it is more than enough to know that you got it. But you've really got to feel it, right? You got to feel it in your bones. And that's part of what this energy is going to remind us of. It is also this season that invites us to return to something that we might have believed in before, but we sort of let go when life started getting in the way, when other matters of our hurts and our pains and our journey started showing up for us. What was a more open to the world self actually like? And that's not about actually going out in the world. You can if you want, of course. Look, you're asking me. If you've watched me for a while, you know. I think more people know I have a Sag moon than know my other placements. But yeah, I love to explore. I love to be out in the world. I love to live. These are all very Sagittarian concepts. But there's also something highly personal about this as well. It's about your relationship with life itself. It's about how are you going to orient yourself, not just to the world, but to your life itself. And so what does the Sag voice say? The Sag voice says, never give up. You can do it. The sky's not going to fall. These are all things my dad has said to me. He's a Leo sun, but it is trine Jupiter in Sagittarius. So yeah, dude's got a lot of Sagittarian energy going for him. But it's these very sayings that embody what it is to own our own Sagittarian energy. And wherever it is that we might orient ourselves towards our life from a place of optimism and also genuine enthusiasm, well, that's when we are channeling Sagittarian energy. Well, where is it that you might need to pick that up again? Where is it that you might have abandoned that energy? Where is it now that you may need to reaffirm or reacquaint yourself with that more optimistic part of you? Because life, with all that it holds, can give you every reason not to be optimistic. And yet there is a genuine lightness of being that comes when, in spite of that, you choose to look forward with happiness and excitement and enthusiasm anyways. Either late Tuesday in some parts of the Americas or Wednesday in the rest of the world, the sun will speak in supreme harmony with Mars. I love this energy. Whatever it is that Mars aspects, it gets a shot of adrenaline. It's like that planet gets steroids in it and it operates that much more on high. Depending on the nature of the aspect itself, will speak volumes to how we feel about that adrenaline, how much we embrace the adrenaline rush and feels like it's working to our advantage. Well, in this case, it's a trine, which is supreme harmony. And it's also the sun that's connecting with Mars in this way. And these are both planets that speak to heating things up, right? Lighting things up. The sun receiving Mars energy, and with Mars beginning to slow right down, gearing up to go retro next week, is that much more heightened in its power. And this is adrenaline that restores us to ourselves, restores us to happiness, restores us to enthusiasm and excitement. Excitement is a big theme when the sun and Mars speak to each other. But especially when it's a trine, we feel like it's especially fortunate and easy to go along with whatever it is that feels so exciting to us. And this is Sag energy. So again, it's a party in one way or another. Now, a party to one is really not a party to another. So we do want to take things in context. I think a lot of us are going to have things that we genuinely are enjoying and looking forward to. Now, so far, I've focused a lot on the highest possible interpretations of these energies. And I think you and I can participate in the higher unfolding of the universe. We participate in the unfolding of the universe. But there are other ways this energy might come forward. With trines, because the energy is so easy, we don't always question it. And then you add the fact that Mercury is retrograde, and what seems as clear as day, what seems so true, really might not be. It might be a subjective truth. And a lot of these energies suggest getting very caught up in subjective truths right about now. And maybe not having a real sense of a healthy rationale behind them, or not realizing that what it is that's got you all riled up, what it is that feels like it's so at the forefront of, yeah, I knew it, and yes, that's right. Well, it might not be right. Mercury is retrograde, and Mercury retrograde is notorious for spreading false information, with us thinking we have the answer when we really don't. And then Mercury goes direct, as it will in the middle of December. And what seems like such a sure thing now might look very different when we get there. And so it becomes that much more important to pay attention to what's happening now. Enjoy yourself and be yourself. You know, I like to say that, but also what feels so certain, what you think you know for sure, especially when you feel you know something that is ultimately subjective. Well, it becomes that much more important, where possible, to strive and pace yourself. That adrenaline rush is going to feel downright addictive. And this becomes true as well in terms of world events, where we feel like, okay, we are on the winner's side. Our perspective, our political beliefs, our country, our worldview, our religion, whatever it is. These are all matters of Sagittarius. Sagittarius also has to do with things like higher education. It has things to do with legal matters as well. Well, certain legal decisions for one might really get them excited and happy. Other legal decisions really don't do that, right? Devastate others. And so we may see some examples of these types of scenarios playing out, especially at this time. But again, what looks so certain may not be. And so any information, any sense of clear truth and justice and yes, and this is right and that's wrong, well, it may look one way now, but things might look mighty different once it is that we get to Mercury direct. The last 2 weeks of December are going to be hugely consequential in how it is that they help us to understand something about how our orientation is going to be to the world, but also where it is that perhaps we've had some beliefs or perspectives that maybe we got wrong. And this can play out collectively, but personally as well. Now, interestingly, under the light of Mercury going retro, Venus will align with Jupiter. And Jupiter and Venus are connecting in a more modern type of connection where it comes to those students of astrology out there. We have traditional aspects that go way back at least 2,000 years. We find them in the foundational text to Western astrology like Tetrabiblos by Ptolemy. But it is later on in more modern times that astrologers, especially with the discovery of the modern planets, the outer planets, start to incorporate these other aspects. And again, they're called minor aspects, though some astrologers are really passionate about them, swear by them more than others. But what we're looking at here is a quincunx, and this is an energy that's just one off from an opposition. And when two planets are quincunx, it's like the awareness of these two energies needing to integrate can come on very quickly, but it can also find resolution quickly as well. And so in this case, Jupiter, already such an important symbol this week, given that it is all that Sag energy that's lit up with Mercury going retro, with the Sun trine Mars, with us being in Sag season. Jupiter speaking this way with a quincunx with Venus suggests that as much as we might feel caught up in a moment, there is going to be some part of us that has to take into consideration whether it is a worldview, whether it is a place we want to be, an adventure we want to take on, a morality and ethics, whatever that might be, your beliefs. Is there love there? And that question will come up, and it might just be a split second of a question. How much weight we are going to give that question is going to be up to us to decide. But as we consider this question, we'll likely find some resolution, find some answer. For some, that answer is going to be, it doesn't matter. For others, it might very well be, well, of course it is. With Venus in the sign of Capricorn, it's very much rooted in tradition. The energy of Capricorn speaks to our ancestors and our descendants and what we might be contributing and leaving behind. It speaks to those things that we feel make us immortal or speak to a larger contribution that we might be making to the world in particular. But also in terms of our own ambition. And we can be judgmental of people sometimes in terms of their ambition, but really, even just wanting to be at peace with yourself and your life and your choices is a mighty and formidable ambition to hold. It doesn't necessarily have to be like world fame Cardi B levels. It could be. She's fabulous, but it might also be something more personal. That is just as important, that is just as sacred, which is just as special. Well, whatever it is for you, and what love looks like for you, and how that's going to show up in this moment of flux, of adventure, of us considering our beliefs and how it is that they help us or hinder us. This is going to be an invitation to ensure that love is part of the question, because that means if we bring it up as part of the question, it in some way also becomes part of the answer. What I love about this week for us, there's so much here. It is a powerful and significant astrological moment. I'm going to say Mercury going retro. I know that that can be notoriously confusing. And yeah, it is likely to be with the Mercury retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius, no less, a sign that makes everything bigger, including the party. However, it is important to know that whatever information is there, may not necessarily be accurate or true. It's not really about that now. It's more about understanding our own subjective truths and also taking into account that so much of that determines how we see the world and our place in it. And we do this in all kinds of ways, more personally, right, in our interactions with others, but in larger ways as well, in terms of our understandings of our cultural identity and how that orients us towards other cultural or national identities. How worldly do we feel? How much of the world do we really want to know or not? And it's also about genuine optimism and what we can be excited about. And with Mercury retrograde here, we could find ourselves getting very excited about stuff that maybe isn't clear and we don't realize it isn't clear. Something we think is this massive blessing or maybe just a massive ask, and it really isn't that. It's actually very small from the perspective of the universe. Or maybe something that seems like this huge blessing, it shows up or you really want it to show up, might not actually be the thing that opens up blessings even more significant for you. I will give you an example because I do teach a business course once a year in the summer at Kepler College. It's the only business course I teach, and I absolutely love it. I get so much out of teaching spiritual entrepreneurship, as I like to call it. And one of the things I always say to the students, among many things I say to the students over that 5-week course, is you have to make sure that it's something you really want to do. Whatever it is you choose to orient your social media around, if you're going to have an astrology channel, a tarot channel, whatever it might be, you have to make sure that you actually like that, you love that, you want to do that, because otherwise it could just be downright miserable. And a lot of YouTubers have shared this in different industries in one way or another, that you have to be sure that you actually like what it is that the topic of your channel covers. And so, yeah, if you really love astrology, do that. If you really love holistic healing, do that. So I was watching this channel the other day. If I can remember the name, I'll put it up here. It had an interesting name, a sciencey name, and it was a science channel. I ended up watching a few videos. They were very entertaining. And that channel has like 20 million subscribers, and every video has like multiple millions of views and stuff like that. And yeah, that's a very successful channel and a very successful person. But as I was watching this, I was like, wow, I'm really not a science person. I was thinking if I had to make science videos, I don't think I'd be very happy. That would not be prosperity to me, because what you do as part of orienting yourself towards whatever it might be, your work, your understanding of more, your understanding of better, your understanding of blessings. Yeah, of course, it's a blessing to have 20 million subscribers and get multiple millions of views per video. Yeah, but if you are doing it and every time you do it, it feels like pulling teeth, or it feels like this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. This is not what I'm called to do right now. And you're fighting that with every video and this example that you put out, or whatever choices you might be making. Well, that can be a very brutal road. And so it is with just about anything. And yet, Mercury's going retrograde, which means it is not the time to make big life-altering decisions based on Mercury retrograde season and what you think you really, really want to do. And so you're going to like make dramatic life choices and changes going a whole other way. Those might be the right ways for you, but you really aren't going to know until Mercury is direct. And Mercury goes direct middle of December, and everything becomes that much more clear, including where you are to be, literally and figuratively, in terms of where you stand, in terms of your relationship with the world. For some, that'll be very literal. For others, it'll be highly figurative. But regardless, even though this is not necessarily a time to make those big changes, it could be a lot of fun to explore what that might look like. Like the kind of exploration that doesn't require a legal contract or a blood contract or a soul contract, right? But instead involves play, involves fun, involves exploration. It is in those types of moments and environments and states of being that we are able to understand that taking on adventure, moving towards something that feels more optimistic, more enthusiastic, it isn't really about where you actually are, what is showing up for you. It's a state of being with which you approach just about anything in life that can be an adventure. Well, thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys, and to prove it to you, here are some of my most recent favorite comments. Thank you to everybody who likes, who comments, who subscribes, who shares, who thumbs up. All of it means so much. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you. And of course, if you want to know how all this wonderful stuff this week speaks to you in your sign, log on to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Membership rate. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. And a shout out to my newest sponsor, the Modern Mystic Ancient Mind YouTube channel. They are a brand new YouTube channel. Go check them out. They've got lots of inspiring videos there. But again, they're just getting started. You get to be one of their very first subscribers. And if you subscribe to that channel, and you watch even just one video, it helps out my channel so much. And really, it makes it that much more possible that I'm able to do all that I do in terms of what I share and the content and on here, on YouTube, and in other platforms as well. And it really is you, your viewership, that allows me to continue doing this for as long as I have been doing it. And for that, I'm so grateful. And yeah, I think it works really well in terms of what they are producing and putting out there. If you resonate with my content, you'll likely resonate with what they have going on there as well. So check them out. Links are in the description below. Mars retrograde season special horoscopes are available right now as instant downloads at nadiyashah.com or in the Superstar space over at nadiyashahsuperstars.com. And there's one for each sign. Get one for your rising sign and your sun sign, and even your moon sign as well, so you can synthesize the information and make it yours. But this is set to be a huge and important and powerful Mars retrograde season. And it is two areas of the chart that are lit up over the course of the Mars retrograde season, right? Because it's two signs. They're going to speak to you depending on your rising sun and moon signs differently, but ultimately connecting two areas of life together in very powerful ways. And this is all just in time for Mars slowing down, gearing up to go retro next week. Of course, I'll be here to talk about it every step of the way. But yeah, if you want like an expanded look, I think each video is at least 20 minutes long. A few go up to like 30 minutes. And so it really is walking you through this whole retrograde season that actually started back in October, at the beginning of October. So we go from there, going forward, looking at the major and important aspects that Mars is going to make along this journey. And it ends, in terms of the video and the time frame it covers, in early May of 2025. So that's the huge swath of time we're going to be covering there. I did speak about this in the context of 2024, in the year ahead 2024 special horoscopes as well. So again, if you are so inspired, decade ahead, year ahead, Mars retrograde, and so much more is available for instant download at nadiyashah.com. And of course, in the Superstar space as well at nadiyashahsuperstars.com or thefutureismagical.com. Synchronicity University is super excited, super proud to present the very first of a whole bunch of courses that we are going to be launching in the next few days. And we are starting at the top. Big Dog Astrologer, one of the absolutely leading evolutionary astrologers on the planet, Maurice Fernandez. Yes, Maurice Fernandez is coming to Synchronicity University with a 5-week course for as low as just $5 a class with Choose Your Membership rate. I will tell you, there is nowhere else you are going to learn from Maurice Fernandez for this rate anywhere else on the planet. This really is it, as part of Synchronicity University's mission of making quality astrology education available to the masses. And so it is going to be Maurice that's going to bring all of his skills, all of his wisdom, all of his enthusiasm, and his highly regarded book on Neptune and other writings that he's done, and so much more. He's bringing all of that to Synchronicity University. We truly are so very blessed to have him. And so for those people who really wait it out and only take a class here and there, that's okay. I know some of you show up to every class, and I love you. Thank you for that. Thank you to so much of you who've shown so much support for Synchronicity University. We've had about 2,000 students pass through Synchronicity University over the past few years. It really was during the pandemic that Synchronicity University expanded and brought in other speakers and other courses. And because of you guys, this school has grown so much to the point where it is highly regarded, is highly respected, to the point of Maurice Fernandez. Maurice Fernandez teaching a whole course, a 5-week course, live also. Live. I'm super excited about this. I think you can tell. I just feel very fortunate to have someone like Maurice believe in what we're doing at Synchronicity University and to bring his talent. So yeah, this is a course you have to check out. It's called New Year, New You, and he's going to guide you through that and so much more. So you can learn a lot more about Maurice's upcoming class at synchronicityuniversity.com. And there are going to be lots of other programs that are launched in the coming days. So make sure you're on the newsletter for Synchronicity University. There's lots to look forward to here. Links are in the description below. And thank you. Thank you so much for this moment with you. Thank you for your trust. I'm so grateful for it. Stay tuned for the short horoscopes coming up. And for this week, I think I'm actually going to talk about Mars going retrograde and what that means for you and your sign. So stay tuned for that. And next week, I'll be looking at, in the short horoscopes, Neptune going direct for each and every sign. And of course, if you want even more expanded understandings of what's happening for you this week and beyond, once again, check out NadiyaShahSuperstars.com or thefutureismagical.com for exclusive horoscopes. But let me just take a moment to say thank you to so many of you. Wonderful love pouring forward for the one and only Michael Luton. And that means so much to me. I might end up posting a previous class of his because I just want people to always remember how brilliant a soul and an astrologer not only he was, but continues to be. He was one of our living legends for a reason. And he is going to go on to be one of our great legends, really for a long time to come, in terms of our practice and what his work will continue to contribute to others going forward from here. And I loved him, and I'm so grateful that I got to work with him and be his friend for so many years. So thank you to those of you who joined me for the online memorial that Synchronicity University hosted. And of course, just thank you to those of you who said something nice about Michael in the comments. All of it just meant a lot to me, and I know to a lot of other people as well. So thank you for that. So yes, stay tuned now. I appreciate you so much. Black Friday, I should mention. Yes, Black Friday is coming up. Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend. It's going to be big. A lot of places have started their Black Friday stuff already. And so there was a meme that went around that said, it used to be that Black Friday weekend was like a weekend, and then it became a week, and then it became a month. And that's how it feels right now. We're in that place where, is Black Friday a week, or is it 2 weeks, or is it a month, or what? Yeah, it can feel like that. But for us, it's going to be this coming weekend. So make sure you are on the newsletter over at nadiyashah.com in order to take advantage of some of the amazing discounts. It's one of the very few really big sales that we do in terms of my work, in terms of Synchronicity University as well. So check that out. I hope you absolutely love this week and love the upcoming programs and love your Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy. December 6th, Mars officially goes retrograde in the sign of Leo, and a part of this season will be spent with Mars here and another part in the sign of Cancer, but at least for now. And as Mars goes retro, it is heightening awareness around one particular area of life for all of us. Now, as a collective, the energy of Leo has to do with celebrity and kingdom and personal power, and it has to do with an understanding of what lights us up, what it is that we feel is special about us, and where it is that we look at others and see something special. It speaks to the heart of us and others and what it is that makes the heart feel that much more alive. The glyph of Mars consists of a circle with an arrow arising from it, and this is the circle of self-knowledge and where it is and how it is we might act from that place of knowing some whole truth about who we are and what it is we're really going for. It's about believing that based on that self-knowledge, we can fight for what we want, we can go after it, we can give it our all and align with it that much more. Well, it is when Mars retrograde takes place that Mars appears to be standing still in the sky. Whenever a planet is standing still from our perspective, it is closer to the Earth than it might otherwise be. It is heightened in visibility, heightened in power. And so it is once every year and a half or so that we have a moment like this. Mars standing still, going retro in the sign of Leo. Mars in Leo really knows who it is, but not only that, its actions from that place of self-knowledge are especially confident. And with Mars at the height of his power on the 6th of December 2024, going retrograde on that day, well, all of us are going to be summoning characteristics of courage and bravery and unapologetic realness and embodiment of who we are and what it is that we think makes us special. Collectively, it's likely to be a time when we're paying more attention to the celebrities and we see some especially dramatic or fabulous flair playing out for a lot of us to be entertained by. Now, how Mars going retrograde is going to speak to you in your sign depends on your sun, moon, and rising. You want to take all three into consideration and synthesize the information, but understand that this is where you are asked to bring forward your confident self and best to this area of life consistently. However, with Mars at the height of his power standing still, that is going to feel like an urgent need, a proposition that is undeniable. And there's an imperative feeling of needing to assert yourself or prove your specialness that can feel very much on the surface now. Whatever it is you're fighting for, just make sure that it is true to your heart. Leo is the energy of heart itself, and where it is that you're trusting your heart, you're doing what it is that you want, and you're making your choices consciously, well, I like to think you can't make a wrong choice. But you might see any choice that you make now very differently once we navigate forward. Particularly, it is going to be at the end of April and beginning of May of 2025 that Mars will return to where Mars is right now. And that's when what seemed so sure, what you were so confident about, what you were fighting for, well, you just might see it very differently and decide on what battles really were worth it. And maybe now where you're ready to be a lover and not a fighter. But do be mindful, it is going to be on the other end of this larger Mars retrograde season, meaning end of April, beginning of May 2025. That is when Mars will return to where Mars is in the first 2 weeks of December 2024. And that's when we just might see some choices we make now, something we were so confident about, we were so sure of, we were fighting for it. Well, we just might see it all very differently. And it's at that time that we'll be more able to honestly evaluate whether or not the fight was actually worth it and where it is perhaps that confidence could have used some humility to make us that much more effective. Regardless, though, we're all learning through experience, and Mars standing still is going to guide us towards summoning the spirit of heart towards the experiences that we just might crave. I do touch on Mars retrograde season as we go along, and I walk the journey with you over on my YouTube channel in the monthly horoscopes. And over on my website, nadiyashah.com, you can get an instant download to like a 20 to 30 minute horoscope going through the whole season. And of course, you can also watch it in the superstar space at nadiyashahsuperstars.com or thefutureismagical.com. All those links are below. Aries, your ruling planet, standing still at the height of his power in fellow fire sign Leo, no less. Your heart is feeling wide awake and wide open, lit up with an awareness of what you want and what you love in just about every area of life. But this is also romantic love, romance, flirtation. You are about to get your flirt on in a way that makes an impact on yourself and on others as well. And it might just be a very passionate exchange with another person that truly leaves an impact of sorts. But it's really important not to make big life-changing decisions based on a flirtation, especially not right now, as you just might see the attraction differently once we navigate into the spring of next year. Taurus, home, your past, your living situation, your family of origin, chances are you're going to be feeling like home is the power base now. If you're looking to buy, sell, move, or attract a new roommate, well, you just might see some of those choices very differently. And I would say if you have a choice, it might be good to just press pause on that just a little bit. There might be some drama on the home front. I'm so sorry to say it does happen, but with the drama also brings with it an invitation to get more rooted in some sense of self. Home-based businesses, well, they're going to get a lot of your energy now. Gemini, siblings, cousins, neighbors, these people are going to be part of what's got you all riled up or just bring a lot of excitement into your life. There might be a part of you that's spending more time with these people now or just needing to address some needs that they might have. Outside of that, though, learning, communication, awareness around your own thought processes is going to feel especially high right now. And it is moments like this when what it was that you really wanted to learn in the past, but you kind of let it go. Well, the desire to know can come right up to the surface as part of you expanding your mind more than before. Cancer, money you earn, money you spend, self-love, self-esteem. And when we have energy like this, you are in the midst of learning some really powerful money-related lessons. And the important thing to know is when we have such strong financial energy, the money you need is there. And what you learn now is going to show you something about fortitude, about focus, about belief in yourself, about confidence. And ultimately, it is these lessons that will align you with greater prosperity than you've ever known before. But in the moment, though, it might feel a little urgent to some Cancerians out there, though not necessarily. Where you're working hard towards healthy self-love, the rewards are going to be that much more apparent. Leo, I always see a Mars retrograde season taking place in your sign as representing an intimate familiarity, a crash course, if you will, in the serenity affirmation. And it consists of 3 parts. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Where you have power to change, you are about to go right after it. But it becomes really important to find that place of surrender. You are going to feel Mars as a deep passion for moving towards the life you desire, and your courage is going to make it so. Virgo, there is so much happening on levels of soul, psyche, and spirit. I don't know how you're going to get that much sleep at a time like this. So much is stirring within. But for all that, know that this could be restless energy, or there can be a sense of feeling like something's kind of off, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And that can be tough. But the more intense part of this energy is only going to be right around the exact retrograde time. And then you're invited to go even deeper inward, to find a sense of peace within yourself and with your past. You are wrapping up a lot of loose ends, And this is an opportunity for you to experience karmic closures, to create space for even more incredible things to enter your life. Libra, friendships and group endeavors of all kinds are going to be getting a lot of your energy, whether it is a professional group endeavor where you just feel like you have to give so much of yourself, or it might be a volunteer endeavor. It could also be a particular friend that just needs your presence or a lot of your energy in a way that you hadn't anticipated. Now, for all that, though, it's always up to you to decide how much to give, how much to keep. And I will say, though, your social calendar is going to be lit up at this time. There are going to be a lot of invitations, lots of opportunities to gather with others. Scorpio, career, social standing, life purpose. You are about to awaken some sacred ambition for yourself. Now, it might feel a little bit like there's some deadline you really have to meet and you're pouring so much of yourself towards achieving some goal that matters to you. But with energy like this, it's like you take a big leap forward and then you got to take a step or two back. So pace yourself at this time. You have more than enough to give whatever it is that's needed in order to achieve your goals, whether those are career or whether it is about aligning with a higher sense of life purpose than you knew before. Sagittarius, long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, higher learning, and legal matters. If you are involved in any of these, well, they might require a whole lot of your presence, a whole lot of your energy poured in a particular direction. But for all that, this energy just might work out in terms of a more personal exploration, a desire to engage more of the world, to take on new adventures, but also to learn more, especially where it comes to your relationship with the world. A new spiritual expedition could find you now. Capricorn, change, truth, transformation, and wealth, especially where it comes to things like grants, loans, bursaries, insurance payments, and tax returns and benefits you might qualify for. Those types of large payments, well, they might come into focus for you, whether it's that you're trying to access them or you need to pay attention or you need to reach out to the bank. It can feel as if these matters are very much on the surface. But for all that, you're learning something about what wealth means for you, not just financial, emotional, spiritual as well. And where you're using this energy to undergo a process of transformation, well, you'll be that much more likely to find yourself moving in a direction of feeling that much more empowered, but also powerful. Aquarius, partnerships, including romantic partnerships as well. Now, people you were partnered with before, whether in business, well, they might feel like they pop up again, their awareness, your connection to them. But this is also true in love as well. Those that you were partnered with before have a way of popping up, especially right around the time that Mars is actually changing signs. So yeah, when they do, passions are going to run high. This is a very passionate planet. You might find yourself very propelled, and yet there are things that you're not seeing. So pace yourself at this time. It really is okay. But whatever's happening now, you just might see it differently once we navigate into the spring of 2025, including that attraction or reigniting that alliance that seems like such a great idea now. Pisces, clients, customers, coworkers, they might be asking for a whole lot of your attention now. You might attract people from the past into your life based on one of these descriptors. But also, this part of the sky has to do with your work and your daily life. Now, clients, customers, coworkers, present or past, are going to have a way of popping up and asking for a lot of your energy. It looks like your days overall are quite busy. There's a lot to get done. But for all that, you're also invited to understand what it is to take the best of care of you. And that includes in your health-oriented habits. It is now that there's a strong determination to improve your state of well-being that can have you moving towards habits that ultimately lead to greater strength, as long as you stay self-aware to ensure that the smaller changes, well, they're the ones you want to strengthen most. They're the ones that are going to make the biggest effect in a positive way in your life. Thank you for watching. It'll be a great transit. Enjoy.